I do not believe that contraception is in women's best interests. The whole story of contraception and all the risks involved are not popularly made available to women. I do not believe contraception is the answer to safe sex, and I think sexual health lessons in the UK are sending a very flawed message to our adolescent girls. The impact of the contraceptive pill has long been painted as a revolutionary tool for women under the narrative of sexual liberation. The sexual liberation movement's inception in the Western world began in the 1960s and 70s. It included increased acceptance of sex outside of traditional heterosexual monogamous relationships, and the normalization of contraception and the pill, public nudity, pornography, premarital sex, and the legislation of abortion all followed. Now, on the one hand, the ability to exercise freedom and autonomy over your own body is a very good thing. No one's here to disagree with that stance, given the information that's regularly displayed. However, there are always two sides to every coin, and ultimately the purpose of this video is to provide the side of the coin that isn't conventionally portrayed, in order for you guys to decipher for yourselves the impact overall on individuals and at a social level. The more informed we all are, the better, really. That's the way I see it. Hey, happy Friday! I hope we're all feeling good today. It's the weekend tomorrow, so I trust everyone is in high spirits and feeling open to learning something potentially new. The topic of contraception predominantly comes down to sex and how we view it. If sex is nothing but a mere exchange or exercise, much like a transactional exchange or something as simple as going to the gym, a leisurely activity, then the need for contraception is just as much of a need as, say, a bank account or a gym membership. I personally believe this is how the sexual liberation movement has evolved to portray the modern view of sex. But if sex is more than just a leisurely activity and is viewed to hold weight in its emotional connection and physiological effects, then the need for contraception becomes more complex and requires a deeper level of analysis to decide if it's necessarily a tool that you wish to add to your arsenal. Much like a weapon, the protection element is there and perhaps necessary, but ultimately it is a great responsibility and requires the acknowledgement and acceptance of potential ramifications. And that's what I'm here to do, to provide you with, hopefully, an all-encompassing analysis that incorporates all of the potential ramifications that are seemingly hidden in the mainstream media and definitely not highlighted with a level of importance, at least in our schooling systems. A perspective I find rather inferential is that of journalist and author Louise Perry. She argues that the cost of feminism and the women's sexual liberation movement has encouraged women to feel empowered by having sex like a man. She also accepts that many women can't just unyoke sex from emotion and a desire for committed relationships, including marriage. I want to emphasize the word many here. Not all. No one is claiming that every individual is the same, just the fact that there are general patterns in life that we can observe and acknowledge. In an article by Stephen Humphreys for The Monitor, Louise Perry is asked to elaborate on her claim that women can all too easily fail to recognize that being desired is not the same thing as being held in high esteem. Louise tells us that there's a beautiful essay written by former Playboy sex columnist Bridget Fetisy, which went viral. Bridget describes this emotional journey of having had casual sexual relationships and having really convinced herself that she was the one in the driver's seat, that this was good for her, that she wasn't going to catch feelings, that this was empowering, etc., etc. You know, really buying into the sex positive myth. And then she subsequently realized the extent to which she had been lying to herself. She says that women do tend to get emotionally attached more easily than men, which is not to say that men don't, but men in general find emotionless sex a lot easier than women do. You very often end up in this dynamic where women are having sexual relationships with men and they're trying to suppress their emotional attachment. This is a former Playboy sex columnist, a woman who openly talks about her experiences of getting naked online. She actually appeared on a Joe Rogan podcast, which I'm a huge fan of. But this lady has done the whole casual sex thing. She's done posting her nudes online, and even after all of this, whilst probably enjoying it at the time, or at least convincing herself that she did, her revelations and conclusions corroborate with the scientific truth of physiology and psychology that shows the difference between men and women, specifically in regard to sex. This is a truth which a lot of people have a reluctance to acknowledge, especially today, and I guess fair enough. I can see why, because the truth isn't made clear at all. Right from school, we're taught that sex is pretty much the same for men and women. Here in British schools is very much, have sex with anyone, it doesn't matter as long as you're protected, just don't get pregnant, and if you do, well, go get an abortion. Like, it's just, you could simplify the sexual health lessons over here in the UK pretty much down to that. And further in the article, Louise acknowledges this issue too. She states that there is a real squeamishness among liberals to recognise differences between men and women. Definitely psychological differences no one wants to talk about, but even increasingly physical differences have become weirdly taboo. This is definitely true, and it can be observed in almost any liberal debate surrounding sex or gender. If, as women, we're more selective and cautious about our sexual partners, the demand for contraception decreases. But I understand the demand is still not zero. Being more sensible about who we open ourselves up to sexually is, in my opinion, a good thing. But I am not taking away the desire to still want to be intimate with the right person. And there are women who do not want to reproduce, and I don't believe women who do not wish to reproduce should be forced to do so. I also do not believe that the answer to this would be to prohibit these women from being able to enjoy the intimate side of sex with a healthy long-term partner, as long as that partner is also in agreement of the decision not to reproduce. Many women believe the most effective way to avoid pregnancy is through some form of hormonal contraception. The validity of this is debated, and it's falsely taught in schools that natural forms of contraception are far less effective than hormonal forms. Each method of contraception holds risks of pregnancy, whether it's natural or hormonal. In fact, the contraceptive implant is up to 99% effective, which I'm sure most of us know. However, most of us aren't told that if natural family planning methods are used according to instructions, they are also up to 99% effective, and they hold far less health risks than the implant. Problem is, this isn't regularly taught to us. And why would that be? Well, because like everything in this world, it's down to money. Contraceptive drugs have a market, just as much as any other drug, and markets make money. Plus, whilst I don't believe that the intentions are for women who take contraception to have side effects, otherwise surely the side effects would be extremely high, and thus naturally deterring people away from them anyway, which would ultimately put the business out of profit. Side effects present health issues, and health issues present a greater demand for more drugs, which means more money. After all, a sick patient is a returning customer. That's a topic for another video, and it's coming soon. I'll see you over on that one. Back to contraception. The most popular method of contraception used in the United Kingdom is the pill. Figures obtained from the Guardian newspaper under the Freedom of Information Act shows almost 9 in 10 women who receive contraception from either GP or pharmacies take either the combined pill or the mini pill. A total of more than 3.1 million women in England. This was from 2017 to 2018, but it's likely gone up since then. In the United Kingdom, public health information regarding the side effects of the pill clearly states the combined pill may cause temporary side effects such as headaches, feeling sick, sore breasts, and mood swings. Longer term, the combined pill can make your bleeds more regular, lighter, and less painful. It can also reduce the symptoms of premenstrual syndrome and acne. Negative longer term side effects can be high blood pressure, and there has been some research that links the combined pill to an increased risk of blood clots. The progesterone-only pill may cause temporary side effects such as acne, sore breasts, sickness, migraines, mood swings, and it can cause ovarian cysts. It can affect your bleeding pattern, making the bleeding lighter or more irregular, and it may stop you bleeding altogether. The NHS states that the cons to the pill are that it doesn't protect against STIs, temporary side effects such as headaches, nausea, sore breasts, and mood swings, and it can increase blood pressure. Whilst also stating that one of the pros to the pill is that it can reduce the risk of ovarian, womb, and colon cancer. This is completely myopic. A wonderful article published by Taryn Tester to EV Magazine, a great source for otherwise seemingly hidden information, by the way. It's a magazine that actually celebrates true femininity and so far seems to be genuinely holding women's best interests in mind. Ladies, go check it out. I'm a huge fan. Thank me later. The article discusses the unspoken truth about birth control. I'm going to share with you guys some of the side effects that I certainly didn't know about, thanks to our public health and schooling system's insular prescriptions. First of all, the pill depletes your body of essential minerals and vitamins. It exhausts your body of nutrients such as folic acid, magnesium, vitamin B2, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin E, and zinc. This can all be found published to the National Institute of Health's website. Again, we have to specifically look for it. We're not told this from the get-go. We have to read through pages and pages of medical literature to find this information. Given that informed consent should be made before we take any drug, it doesn't seem to me that we're being easily provided with all of this information in order to give our informed consent. Furthermore, the pill reduces vitamin B, which we need in our bodies for better production of serotonin. Karen explains very clearly that vitamin B6 enables the production of neurotransmitters such as serotonin. Serotonin is responsible for feelings of satisfaction and happiness. She also highlights, is it a coincidence that women who take the pill are 23% more likely to be prescribed antidepressants? This and the fact that vitamin B deficiency contributes to an increased risk of blood clots by about 3 or 4 times in women who take the pill. Deprivation of essential minerals in our body is actually a huge contributor to a number of health issues that we often see. But again, this is something I'll be covering in another video. Taking oral birth control can alter the physical structure of your brain. Recent studies from the National Institutes of Health shows that birth control is having measurable effects on cortical thickness and grey matter in parts of the brain, which is responsible for processing emotions. Karen also tells us, on top of this, the pill can disrupt your thyroid, increase your risk of breast, cervical and liver cancer, and increase your risk of diabetes, and has been shown to trigger autoimmune diseases. The PLOS Medicine Journal released a study called Combined and Progestogen-Only Hormonal Contraceptives and Breast Cancer Risk, a UK nested case control study and meta-analysis. It studied the risk of oral contraceptives, particularly the progestogen-only pill, which is the mini pill, and the likelihood of breast cancer in premenopausal women. 10,000 women participated in the study who were under 50 years old between 1996 and 2017. The study found that current or recent use of the mini pill was associated with a similar increased risk of breast cancer, regardless of whether it was administered through a pill, an injectable, implant, or an IUD. Findings say that women who take the mini pill have a 20 to 30% higher risk of breast cancer when compared to the women who weren't on the pill. This can all be found very clearly posted. It was posted in March 2023, this year, to the UK's Cancer Epidemiology Unit website. But the NHS website does not show this as a potential risk or side effect, but it prescribes this form of contraception to millions of women each year. Again, this whole idea of informed consent. Where are we informed? Another study conducted at the University of Liverpool found that our ability to choose long-term partners can also be affected by the pill. Craig Roberts, a lecturer in evolutionary psychology who carried out the work in collaboration with the University of Newcastle, said, "The results showed that the preferences of women who began using the contraceptive pill shifted towards men with genetically similar odours. This is a problem because women are naturally drawn to the body odour of men who have different immune systems than their own, as their potential children would benefit from 2 immune systems coming together. Also, it may affect the relationship. If we come off the pill and we're no longer attracted to our partners as we return to our natural state, that could cause many problems. I've definitely experienced this myself, and I hear many women saying the same thing, that the type of guy that they found attractive whilst on the pill is entirely different to the guys that they're attracted to once off it. I've definitely experienced this myself, and I hear from many women the same thing. The type of guy that they found attractive whilst on the pill is entirely different to the type of guy that they're attracted to once they're off it. And to reiterate the point that I was making at the start of this episode, John Townsend, an evolutionary anthropologist, studied how sex produces specific feelings of vulnerability for women that lead to feeling used when they don't receive emotional investment back from their sexual partner. Generally speaking, this makes it very difficult for women to enjoy casual sex, even though the pill makes them feel like they can have sex with no consequences. The pill essentially avoids the fact that men and women experience sex differently. This is an evolutionary anthropologist saying this, not me. And the cherry on top of the cake, people. Doctors and health professionals are throwing these pills around like confetti. I know so many women who are prescribed contraception for things other than to prevent pregnancy. Girls go to the doctor, I've got acne, I'm having heavy periods, irregular periods, painful periods, many other reasons. The doctors are just throwing out contraception as the remedy to so many things. Instead of working with the patient to get to the root of the cause, perhaps a deficiency in essential minerals, or the more likely, or some other underlying cause that could be remedied with a change in lifestyle or nutrition, they give out these prescriptions and tell women that the side effects are simply some headaches, some nausea, maybe some diarrhea, but none of the aforementioned risks. But of course, you can always ask, well, who is this girl and who are you to say all of this? You're no doctor nor health professional, and I totally agree. I'm just presenting my own findings upon my own research. The purpose of this video is to encourage you to do the same so that we all have a better understanding of the full picture. If you like this video and perhaps learned something new, please do give it a like and share it around. It's important as women that we all have a better idea of what we're subjecting our bodies to. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I will be making more videos looking at health issues and various other topics in order to try to pick the flip side to various things, or in the words of my favorite music artist, the dark side of the moon that is otherwise hidden from view. I also have a reaction series, so be sure to go check that out and see if it's of any interest to you, and make sure to keep an eye out for some of the new content that I have coming soon. Have you, or has anyone you know, ever been prescribed contraception for something other than to prevent pregnancy? Why do you think that we do this? What's the agenda here? Why aren't we told the full picture in our sexual health classrooms and by our doctors and healthcare professionals? Could it perhaps be even they are not fully informed, and if so, why is that the case? Please do join the conversation. The whole reason I make these videos is to encourage dialogue between us in a world that seems more divided and disconnected than ever before. And in doing that, as always, guys, let's try our best to remain harmonious in the adversity of opinion. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.